everyone, and welcome to The Balancing Act. I'm Olga Villaverde.
And I'm Montel Williams.
Today, how the Epilepsy Foundation is improving the lives of people affected by the disease through education, advocacy, research, and connection.
Wow. And how to start planning for your children's college education right now.
That is really important. And a tribute to caregivers.
And it all starts right here on The Balancing Act right now. You know, epilepsy affects over 65 million people worldwide, making it one of the most common neurological disorders globally.
We are sitting down with Bernice Martin Lee, CEO of the Epilepsy Foundation, to learn what they're doing to educate, advocate, and fund research. But first, more on this condition. Take a look. Epilepsy is characterized by a tendency to have repeated, unprovoked seizures. Anyone can develop epilepsy. Surges of electrical activity in your brain can cause recurring seizures. While every brain has the potential to seize, not everyone who has a seizure has epilepsy. A seizure can be a symptom of other medical problems. Many people with epilepsy can have more than one type of seizure. A seizure may cause a person to seem confused or dazed, while others can cause a person to fall, shake, and become unaware of what's going on around them. People with epilepsy can be successfully treated and do the same things people without epilepsy can do. However, those who experience frequent seizures may not be able to work or drive and may have problems in other parts of their life. At least 1 million people in the United States have uncontrolled epilepsy. There is still an urgent need for more research, better treatments, and improved quality of life.
Well, welcome back, and welcome, B. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Well, now, we just learned a lot about the disease itself, about epilepsy. But what causes it?
So there's many causes for epilepsy, and it's not the same for any one person. They include autoimmune diseases, metabolic issues, genetics, infectious disease, and traumatic brain injuries. And that can be caused by accident, military service, and/or sports.
Wow.
But it's important to know that none have the same symptoms, diagnosis, or treatments.
And from what I understand, B, you have epilepsy and you have struggled with seizures. Would you mind sharing your experience?
Absolutely. I had my first seizure at the age of 19 in college, on my way to class for a final. And I was diagnosed with epilepsy about 2 years later after several seizures, where I was told that I was stressed, it was easily dismissed. But when I was diagnosed, my neurologist really did not consider my quality of life when prescribing my medication. And it really began a journey for me. And what I've learned is that epilepsy can be like a puzzle, and there's several pieces that have to be put together. One, yourself, your medical care team, but also social services that play an important part in your diagnosis. But what I would tell anyone, and what I had to learn, is that it's so important to see an epileptologist. Many people do not know what that word is.
I gotta say, I think I've only heard it once.
Yes.
Before, that's it.
It's so important in your journey to see an epileptologist so that you can get the treatment options that are right for you. And you can find those individuals at comprehensive epilepsy centers around the country. And our hotline at the Epilepsy Foundation can help you find one.
You know, we know that there's like 1 in 26 people who develop some form of epilepsy in their life. What's the Epilepsy Foundation doing to help them and their caregivers?
Sure. So our mission at the Epilepsy Foundation is to improve the lives of individuals affected by epilepsy through education, advocacy, research, and connection. And I'm going to highlight 2 words in that mission statement. One is affected by epilepsy, because that is the caregiver, the parents, and the coworker, and friends and family, right? Everyone. And then the second one is connection. 80% of our population lives with depression and anxiety. And therefore, they feel isolated and alone on this journey, and that is compounded by stigma and discrimination. right? So it is really important to us that we provide connection for individuals living with epilepsy. And that is done through our 26 affiliates across the country who provide everything from one-to-one case management services, and then support groups, and then fun activities like camps for kids, and also walks and other community activities. And then also from an education standpoint, we have one of the most comprehensive websites around epilepsy in the world, epilepsy.com. So we encourage individuals to go onto epilepsy.com to learn about seizure first aid training, whether it be education around where to see an epileptologist, using that word again, also how they can find wellness activities for themselves. Like for me, I recognize that sleep is a trigger, and so I utilize wellness programs to help me meditate, calmness, as we all know, mindfulness activities, and you can find that all on our website.
And those who don't even have epilepsy need to understand that it's not one size fits all.
Right,
Everybody has different types of seizures. It's not, what you heard in this or heard there. It's good for everybody who has this issue in their family to get a little educated.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love how the foundation is doing so much. I see the pictures, No One Fights Alone, to help advocate and fund that research. It's really necessary.
Now, advocacy is a pillar of the organization, and we are so committed to advocacy on the federal, state, and local level. And one of our proudest accomplishments is Seizure Safe Schools. And Seizure Safe Schools is in 32 states currently, and it makes sure that every child in a school setting is safe because it requires that personnel are trained in seizure first aid.
Awesome.
Knowing that someone is there that can support them if and when they have a seizure is so important and brings so much comfort to them and their family members. So those are the type of advocacy programs we work on, as well as securing funding for our veterans. It's really, really important, particularly with traumatic brain injury, that we continue to advocate with the federal government for additional funding in the VAs around our epilepsy programs. And they're doing amazing things and leading the way for us in so many ways.
There have been incredible breakthroughs scientifically, but what about what's going on from an equity standpoint? You look around, I understand that different communities, different demographics face different issues when it comes to epilepsy, right?
Absolutely. Did you know that 40% of individuals living with epilepsy are from brown and black communities?
Wow.
And the one with the least access to comprehensive epilepsy centers around the country. We are committed to epilepsy equity, and it is really important to the foundation that we bring access to all.
What's the future look like for people with epilepsy?
We are so committed to bringing treatments and devices in a time frame that matters. And we use that term often because while we recognize we will always work towards a cure for epilepsy, that may not come soon enough for families living with epilepsy today. So we have decided to invest in the Neuro Impact Fund at the Epilepsy Foundation. It was created earlier this year with our partners at ISO's Venture Fund and my partner, Wasim Malik, who is a board member of the Epilepsy Foundation and a partner at ISO. And it is meant to create a bridge between research and commercialization. We want to make sure that we are funding projects, therapies, and devices that are going to bring therapies and devices to market faster. We want to make sure that we are improving that quality of life. We're really excited about it, and we're looking for additional investment in it. And we know that that is going to drive the future of technology and innovation in our space.
Breakthrough here, breakthrough there.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for the information. Thank you
you.
for sharing your experience.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here.
Appreciate your time. And of course, if you want more information on the resources, support, and programs we talked about, you can visit epilepsy.com.
And of course, you can always go to our website, thebalancingAct.com, if you want more information. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be back right after this. Well, today we wrap our series on investing in your child's educational future. And listen to this. The average cost of an undergraduate degree ranges from about $25,707 to over $218,000, according to the Educational Data Initiative. Now, the price varies and depends on whether or not the student lives on campus or exactly which school they're attending, but that's a lot of money. So back with us is Mr. Richard Ellis, Executive Director of My 529, who help parents understand how they can save for their child's future education. Thank you so much, sir.
It's great to be back.
Good to have you here. Look, Richard, here's something very interesting. It says here, in 2023, the average full-time student at a four-year college spent nearly $31,000 on their tuition fees, room and board, for the year. That number is more than double the amount for the same education in 1960. And of course, is adjusted for inflation from 2022 to 2023 dollars. That's crazy. Then the price keeps going up, right? It just keeps increasing.
It does. Tuition inflation has outpaced regular inflation for the last 20 plus years. So the cost is becoming more than parents really think they can afford. So they have to sit down and have that conversation with their child. You know, do you need a four-year degree? Do we get a community college degree and then think about a four-year degree? Or maybe the right path is really skills training. It's a technical program or something, a registered apprenticeship where they can go to and get the education they need. But a 529 plan is the place they can go to begin saving for these expenses, and they can start it while their child is still young.
Let's review some of the benefits of a 529 plan.
You know, the benefit most talked about is it's a tax advantage way of investing for your child's future education expenses. You put the money in, you don't have to pay any taxes on the earnings while it grows. And if you pull it out for qualified expenses, you never have to pay tax on that money. Those education expenses can be tuition, fees, books, room and board expenses, computers, can also be used up to $10,000 annually for private, religious, and public school tuition. It can also be used for registered apprenticeship programs, or even $10,000 to repay student loans if you have money left over.
That's great. I mean, that makes the gift of education really easy, right?
Well, you know, the gift of education is something that lasts for a lifetime. It's not one of those things that the batteries are going to run out of in a couple of weeks and you're going to have to replace them. The advantage they get by that additional education and skills training sets them up for life. And that's where we have to have that discussion. And people need to think, how can I influence my children, my grandchildren, and helping set them up for a better future? So if you can get people and yourself to even contribute on those special occasions through a gifting platform, you're able to help increase and grow that savings so that you can pay expenses when the time comes.
And anybody, like grandparents, friends, family members, anybody can contribute to this fund, right?
Anybody can contribute. You know, we have a platform at My 529. It's called our gifting platform. And there, the account owner can go in, get a gifting code that they can share through social media with their friends, their family, whomever it might be, that they can kind of group contribute into this fund, and they all get to pay into it, and it helps grow it. So whether it's for a grade school graduation, high school graduation, there's an opportunity people can all come in and they help contribute to your beneficiary's account so it grows faster. We even have special certificates that you can print out and send along with it to say, here's a graduation gift for little Johnny.
That's so good. It's so cool. So, I mean, really, let's remind people, you don't have to be a Utah resident to be able to contribute to these plans.
You don't have to be a Utah resident. We have account owners from all 50 states, with over 540,000 accounts, 23 billion in assets. And so we're servicing the whole country, and we think we have a great plan for doing that.
Wow, one more time, let people know where can they go if they want to get more information.
Go to my529.org. You can find all the information you need about how our plan works. You can enroll online and open that account and begin saving now. And the key is the longer you can save, the magic of compounding works in your favor. So if you've got a newborn, 18 years is a great time to start saving.
My goodness, Richard, what a really good, great series. Thank you so much. And of course, if you want more information, you can always go to our website, thebalancingact.com. Thanks for being here, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure.
You know, this month, but really every day of every month, we are and we should honor family caregivers. After all, there are approximately 90 million caregivers in the United States, with 2 out of every 5 adults providing support to either family members, friends, or neighbors.
And we cannot underestimate the value they provide and their economic impact. Listen to this, Montel. In 2021, the estimated economic value of family caregivers' unpaid contributions was approximately $600 billion.
That's crazy.
Let me repeat that, $600 billion. Now, this is larger than the budgets for both Medicare and Medicaid.
Now, let's face it, there are some very big caregiver challenges in this nation right now that we're facing.
That's right, and joining us today is Marvell Adams Jr., CEO of Caregiver Action Network, which is dedicated to providing information, resources, and training to ensure the needs of family caregivers are being met nationally. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. It is an honor to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
So the statistics we mentioned, I mean, come on, that's pretty alarming. And I guess my question is, what is the status of caregivers in the U.S. today?
Yeah, so the statistics you mentioned are really emblematic of a trend that's growing, unfortunately. So for the number of older adults that need support, and really across all ages that need supportive care, caregivers and the number of people available is shrinking. And so when you talk about the current status, you really are looking to the future of this problem will get worse. And so how do we support caregivers with more resources and bandwidth?
I mean, look, we're dedicating this month, but it really should be, and honestly, 24/7, 365 days a year, we should be honoring those who are unpaid, those unpaid heroes that are caring for their loved ones.
Absolutely, and that's what it comes down to, is that understanding that their role is not paid, and most likely they have another role in their life where they are having to have a day job, a night job, whatever it may be, and then on top of that, having the burdensome work of caring for a loved one that they want to be there for. CAN's support really brings those resources, support for mental health and physical well-being to that caregiver so that they can thrive and in order to support their loved one better.
And Montel just mentioned that this is a special month for caregivers. What is it called?
National Family Caregivers Month. Caregiver Action Network has always played a role in ensuring that the country understands the theme and the message of National Family Caregivers Month, because that awareness and the self-identification of caregivers is paramount in order for them to reach out for resources.
And before we get into how we can help, right, help these caregivers, I think we should talk a little bit about the silent issues that they face. Can you touch upon that?
Sure. So it's several. Physical and understanding their health and well-being has to be in good shape. You have to be able to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help someone else with theirs. The mental health aspect of it, and understanding that 60% of caregivers report that they have depression or have had a diagnosis of depression. And then the financial burden is very significant. So you're already talking about a caregiver that's not paid. In addition to that, they're spending on average $10,000 of their own money to be able to be that caregiver. 33% of their income over the annual basis being lost just because they're in the role of a caregiver and have to be supportive in that way.
So, I mean, what do you do to help make a difference that way for people?
So the perspective we always take is from the caregiver's position. So understanding that the Caregiver Action Network provides access to resources, whether that's education on how to approach caregiving, how to handle grief, how to handle that change that's going to take place with waking up one day and realizing that you're going to be a caregiver for your mom or dad or a sister or brother. But also knowing that Caregiver Action Network provides resources through a help desk. It's 24/7 access for caregivers, whether it's mental health support, whether it's financial advice, or referring them to other agencies that may be able to support them.
I was reading here of a beautiful initiative. It's this year's digital initiative. It's called #CaregiversConnect. Can you fill us in on that?
Yeah, so our objective is to provide connection with other caregivers so that there can be an empathetic basis for their understanding and recognize that their own mental health and support is paramount for their ability to be a good caregiver. And
you have a special partnership going on as well, right?
We do, with Haleon, and our partnership of providing health and wellness products exclusively through haleon.caregiveraction.org, where caregivers can go and find resources and products.
That's great. So for our viewers who'd like more information, where can they go?
Sure. We encourage them to reach out to us through caregiveraction.org, as well as through the hashtag CaregiversConnect for the campaign for National Family Caregivers Month.
And social channels as well, right?
Of course. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we encourage you to follow us.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marvell, for being a part of the show today, sir.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
Yes, sir. And of course, if you want more information, you can always go to our website, thebalancingact.com. We'll take a little break. We'll be back right after this. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Remember to head to our Facebook page, like us on Instagram, follow us on X, and visit thebalancingact.com to enter our latest sweepstake or giveaway.
Because you might just win something.
That's right.
Stay safe, love that family, viewers, and we'll see you next time.